In this video, let's define what is coaching. Let's be clear about what coaching is and what coaching is not. So let's get started first on helping you understand what coaching is not. And sometimes it really helps to clarify things when you first begin with what something is not. As we consider this idea as it relates to coaching, coaching is not therapy. It is not counseling. It is not consulting. It is not mentoring. It is not training. It is not teaching. It is not medical advice or legal advice. But there's more. Coaching is not directing. It is not authorizing. It is not fixing. It is not rescuing. It is not goal imposition. It is not manipulation. It is not persuasion. None of these things define coaching. And oftentimes, as I speak with different professionals and even executive leaders, they have a misunderstanding about coaching. They really receive training or advising or consulting, but it's not coaching. Coaching is different. Coaching is not advising. I'm not advising you to do something. Coaching is not training. It's not equipping you necessarily. Coaching is not teaching or leading someone to go in a particular direction. Those things I know have been misunderstood throughout the years, but what I hope to do in this session is clarify what coaching is not and what coaching is. If you're advising someone, that's not coaching. If you are training someone, that's not coaching. If you're going to a counselor or a therapist, that's not coaching. Those are all great things, but they're not coaching. So let's take a look at what coaching is. First of all, coaching, according to the International Coaching Federation, also known as the ICF, is, here it is, client-centric, collaborative, and non-directive in nature. So let's park here for just a minute because this really helps us understand the foundation of coaching. It says, first of all, is client-centric. Coaching is focused on the client, the person that you are serving. One of the things that we find with a consultant, for example, or a trainer, is that they are doing all of the work. If you're a trainer, then you are working to prepare the lessons, deliver the lessons, answer questions, provide team activities for people to do in your training. Coaching and training are different. When you are a consultant, for an example, I served as a consultant for many years, you are working hard to understand the issues the client is having, and then make sure you do assessments and different types of activities to understand what's happening in the organization, what's happening with the teams. And then at the end, you go off on your own, you prepare your recommendations, and you deliver those recommendations to your client. That is a consultant. That's not coaching. And sometimes someone will call you and they want advice on a matter. They want to get your feedback. That is not coaching. Notice what it says. Coaching is client-centric. It focuses on your client. They are the main priority. But second, it says it's collaborative. You are walking with your client. You are not walking ahead of your client and saying, follow me. You're not walking behind your client and pushing them forward and say, go in this direction. That's not coaching at all. It is collaborative. That means it's a partnership. Two people working together to achieve a common goal. Once again, client-centric, collaborative, and number three, non-directive in nature. And this is where we really make a distinction between coaching and consulting and advising and mentoring. We are not mentoring when we coach. We are coaching. You are not directing the client. You are simply walking with the client. So think about these things for a minute. You may say, well, Marcel, I've been a coach for many years. Well, have you been coaching? Have you really been coaching, or have you been consulting? Have you been advising? Have you been mentoring? All good things, all really good things, but not coaching. Coaching is different. The coach's role, notice, is to facilitate the client's self-discovery, growth, and empowerment. In coaching, what you're doing is you're walking alongside the client and you're helping them to discover things about themselves as they speak out loud, respond to your questions, and you give them the space to think about what they have just said. How often do you have a conversation with someone and you are simply one phrase after another, one question after another, you're going back and forth, but you're not really giving each other time to process. You're in a hurry, you're having a conversation on the way to a meeting, or you only have a few minutes. That is something that is resolved in coaching. Because in coaching, you are giving your client, the person you're serving, you're giving them space. You are giving them the time they need to process information. You are facilitating. That's a key word, as it says here. You are facilitating the client's self-discovery. Second, it says you are facilitating their growth. You are not dumping tons of training material and telling them, read this and then we'll talk. You're not doing that at all. You are taking their experiences, taking their circumstances, their situation, their goals, and you're walking with them to grow the client. You're growing together. You're discovering together. And the last part, it says, and empowerment. You are facilitating the client to take ownership. Coaching is about ownership. The client takes ownership of their goals. You simply come alongside to facilitate and coach them, but they own their goals. They own their decisions. They are responsible for their decisions. Oftentimes when I talk about leaders and I talk with leaders, and then I talk to them about coaching, they realize, yeah, Marcel, my problem is I'm always telling people what to do because I have a lot of experience. And I get that. And I tell them, and that's why you're a successful leader today, because you have a lot of experience. You have been telling people this is how we need to do things, but you're not developing people. You're not facilitating their growth. You're simply letting them know this is what you need to do. This is how we need to get things done. This is how we need to move forward. But the question I have for you is, are you developing leaders? Are you empowering people in such a way where they can think for themselves and create plans and accomplish goals on their own, with you simply being a facilitator, a coach, a guide? Coaching leaders. Notice what it says here. Executive coaches serve leaders by walking with them through their professional journey, helping them to envision new possibilities through powerful questions and by evoking greater awareness. So let's break this down a little bit. It says walking with them through their professional journey. What I find most executive leaders are looking for is not another person to say yes to everything they believe and everything and every decision they make, and it's great, that was a good decision. They're looking for someone to push back. They're looking for someone to challenge their thinking, challenge their assumptions. They're looking for someone to evoke new awareness, gain greater clarity. You only do that as you walk with someone. As you walk alongside someone, it helps them to gain greater clarity. This doesn't happen in one simple 10-minute session. It takes time. It takes time. And coaches can build trust with their clients over time as they walk with them on their professional journey. The second thing it says, helping them to envision, but envision what? Well, envision new possibilities. New possibilities through powerful questions. Many times these leaders have done a great job in one area or another, but they're stuck and they want to go beyond where they are today. The right question can help a leader become unstuck. That's right. You can help them to become unstuck. And then it says, and by evoking greater awareness. I was listening to a coaching call not too long ago. It was a coaching session where I was mentoring a student coach, and they were not the most experienced student coach, but they had developed, they had grown, and they did a fantastic job. And they interviewed and coached someone who had a lot more professional experience in a particular industry, and they did an amazing job. And I remember them asking this question: are you looking for stability or are you looking for growth? What they did was they used the words their clients had expressed. I'm looking for something stable. I'm looking for growth. And the coach simply asked the question, what are you really looking for? In other words, if you could only choose one, which one is the greater priority? They thought about it. They even told the coach, that was a good question. That was a really good question you just asked me. And in the end, they were looking for growth. They were fine with things being stable, but really, that wasn't challenging them. They were looking for growth. What could I do now to help me grow as a leader? And as a result of this coaching call, the coach was able to help this growing executive make a significant change and choice and decision in their life that would affect the rest of their life. And that's what coaching does. It is very, very powerful. Coaches, what do? Walk with clients on their journey to get them from where they are to where they want to be. Consider your life for just a minute. Where are you today? Where are you right now in your professional life, in your relational life, in your educational pursuits, in your business? Where are you right now? And then consider this question: where do you want to be? Now, where you want to be is not where you are right now. It's somewhere in the future. It's a destination, if you will. Where do you want to be? And here's the other question: how are you going to get there? With our clients, we let them understand the way you get there is through coaching. Somebody you can trust. They walk with you in the process. There's no judgment. There's no criticism. We simply walk with you in the coaching process. Imagine if you're sitting with your team and you ask them this question: where are we now? Where do we want to be? How are we going to get there? And then you become their coach. You ask relevant questions, penetrating questions. You're not telling them this is what we're going to do. You're wanting to hear from them. What could we do? What's possible? What are the next steps? What goals do we need to have in place? And as I said before, how are we going to get there? It says here below, coaches provide a supportive, forward-focused partnership that helps clients achieve their goals and realize their potential. This is what coaches do. They help clients to look ahead, look forward. They're not therapists, they're not counselors looking in the past, working through past. No. They're looking forward. What can they do in the present to help their client move forward? Coaching has its place. Counseling has its place. Therapy has its place. Advising, consulting, training, mentoring, they all have their place. Coaching is different. It is very, very different. It reads, forward-focused partnership that helps clients achieve their goals. This is what we want. We want to help clients. We want to help our team members, our fellow leaders reach their goals. And this is what coaching does. Coaching is powerful. Coaching is something that has been underestimated, but I can assure you, in the last 5 to 10 years, it has exploded because people realize I can do more when I have a coach. You can do more when you have a coach, and you can help others do more through coaching. I love this little action figure of Star Wars. And one of the things that I find myself telling people a lot is a coach is simply a guide. I want you to think about that for a minute. A coach is simply a guide. When you look back at Star Wars, and surely you've seen the movie Star Wars or one of your children has seen it, but in the movie Star Wars, we have a young Luke Skywalker. He's figuring things out. He wants to become a Jedi. He wants to really make an impact and change many lives and overcome the darkness. And Luke Skywalker, he needs help. He needs help. And who comes alongside to help Luke? Do you remember? That's right, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a guide. He is obviously a master Jedi. He's an expert, but he's a guide for young Luke Skywalker. You know what most executives need? They need a partner. They need a guide. They don't need someone to know more business information or metrics or trends than they do. They don't need someone with necessarily 10 different degrees to help them figure things out. They simply need a coach. They need a guide. They need someone in whom they can trust. What I find often working with executives is, even though at times we try to compartmentalize our lives, they are facing challenges. They are facing challenges professionally, relationally, spiritually, and they need someone to trust. They need someone in whom they can trust to help them get from where they are to where they want to be. So that's why a coach is a guide. The International Coaching Federation, the ICF, they define coaching as the following. Notice, partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Notice those two words, partnering, maximize. This is what coaches do. Coaches partner with their clients. Why? To maximize their personal and professional potential. The process of coaching often unlocks previously untapped sources of imagination, productivity, and leadership. Even as I work with student coaches, one of the things I really enjoy, don't tell them, but I really enjoy this. I really enjoy when I allow them to coach me. One of the things I enjoy is once they have that confidence and they've been coaching some of their peers for a couple of weeks, then all of a sudden I ask them to coach me. I need coaching. You need coaching. We need coaching. And even though I'm a mentor coach and I coach and train student coaches, I still need coaching. I still want coaching because of the many benefits it brings. So coaching is about partnering with your client. It's about maximizing their personal and professional potential. It can help executives. It can help those that are single, married, those who are looking to establish goals and looking for someone like an Obi-Wan Kenobi who can walk with them and guide them one step at a time. Let's take a look at the ICF Core Competency Model. This is a framework of the key elements in the ICF Core Competency. And these are things that you learn in coach education and coach training. Establishing a coaching agreement. This is important because one of the first things you do in a coaching session is you establish the overall coaching agreement. if we're going to meet 3 times, 10 times, if there's an investment, a cost, if you're charging a client or you're doing something pro bono. But then we move forward and we have an agreement for the entire coaching agreement or engagement. And then we have agreements for the individual coaching sessions. We co-create the relationship. This is something that you do together with your client. You establish what's called a session goal together. You move forward together. You're not running ahead of them. You're not behind them. You're walking with them. And then it says you're co-creating actions and you're empowering your clients in this process. You're asking questions and you're digging deep into what's happening and how things are affecting them as a person, as a professional, as a dad, as a mom, as a teacher. And then we have some time for reflection. We have some time for feedback along the way, and we start learning that they are learning something in the process. And we're asking them, what are you learning about yourself so far? What are you learning in this situation now that you've established this? Then we support the client. They are autonomous. They can make their own decisions. They are responsible for their own decisions. And this gives us a greater level of empathy, a greater measure of compassion and understanding for what they're going through. And that really opens the door to connect with them on a professional level and allow ourselves to be transparent with them as well. Then we move on to accountability and active listening. We begin to work with our client and they begin to develop steps with us as far as what's next. What are we going to do now? What could possibly get in the way? And we work through these things together. So these are just some of the elements. They're not in any particular order, but these are some of the things that happen in a coaching session and some of the things that we can do with our clients. And trust me, they are very, very powerful. When you sit with a client and you give them the space to process these things, it's amazing what they can come up with as a result of having someone that is deeply listening to what they are saying. A coach, what do? They serve as a trusted partner and a collaborator with their clients. So much of coaching involves coaching ethics because we are giving our clients a measure of what? Confidentiality. We let them know up front, hey, this is totally confidential. This is totally confidential. You can trust me. We are working in this together, and I'm walking with you as a coach, as a partner, as a collaborator. But the greatest thing that we have is trust. And that trust is maintained throughout the entire coaching session. As I said before, what is coaching and why do people need coaches today? Well, because they need someone they can trust. They need someone they can trust. And I know people who don't have others whom they can trust. And that's not a good place to be. And you can become a coach and you can become that person of trust in the life of others, in the life of your team members. So as you consider coaching and what is coaching, let's review a couple things that we've already established. Remember, coaching is not therapy, it's not advising, it's not counseling, it's not training, it's not mentoring, it's not directing, it's not leading. It's none of that. Coaching is a partnership. It's a collaboration. You're helping the client, you're helping your leader, you're helping people on your team, those that work for you or those that work with you, maximize their personal and professional productivity. Coaching is about helping people achieve their personal and professional best. You want them to do more. You want to see them excel. What is coaching? It's a partnership. Once again, you're going to hear that over and over again. Coaching is a partnership. It's a great partnership. You can become someone who is trusted, who is respected as a certified executive coach, and people can lean in on you and trust you. Not that you're going to tell them what to do, not that you're going to give them advice, not that you're going to consult them, but that you're going to coach them because they have the capacity, they have the competency, they know what they need to do. They simply need someone to help them figure it out.